Good evening. If I could invite you all to please stand for the pledge and invocation, and if I could have Pastor Jack from High Point Church join us at the front to lead us in the pledge. Invocation. I'm sorry. Don't steal Elijah's job.
Let's pray. Father, always our first words in prayer are thank you because you are good, because these are exciting days, and because Polk County is a great place to be living them. And we thank you for these folks who serve us as members of our board. We ask you to guide them tonight, Lord, because the work they do is important, the decisions they make are critical, and the lives they impact are precious to us and to you. So we ask, give them grace and courage, wisdom and courage, wisdom to know what is right, courage to do it, and we'll thank you in advance for it. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. And if now I could have Elijah join us at the front to lead us in the pledge. And yeah, move that mic on down.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, you may all be seated except for you, Elijah. So, Elijah, I have to say, I think you are our best dressed pledge leader to date. You look so nice in that suit. I just am very impressed. Dressed to impress. So, I hear that you go to Willow Oak Elementary School. What grade are you in? Fourth. Now, did you bring anybody with you this evening?
I brought my mom, my brother, my teacher, principal, and vice principal.
Wow. Can your guests in the audience stand so we know who they are? Man. You have got the best cheering squad. So what subjects do you like in school?
Science and math.
Science and math. Got some STEM on our hands. So do you know what you want to be when you grow up? We have one vote for superintendent.
Right.
I'd like to be a musician.
Musician. What type of musician would you like to be? Do you play an instrument? Do you sing? Instrument. What instrument?
Congas.
Congas. I like that. Very nice. So what do you enjoy doing in your free time?
Playing video games.
Very nice. Listen, we got esports when you get into high school, so keep your eye out for that. But, well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you coming and leading the pledge with us. And we will see you later. Have a great rest of your school year.
Thank you.
Right, and we will now call this February 28th, 2023 school board meeting to order. The first order of business will be to accept the agenda for the school board meeting. Superintendent Hyde, do we have any revisions?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. There we go. Madam Chair, item I, number 4, school staffing plan updates. An item was added. Item Q6, settlement of 2023-2024 Polk Education Association contract language. Attachments were updated. Item L, number 4, administrative moves. An item was added. Item P, number 1, purchase of Qualtrics LLC. The item was moved to action to allow for discussion. Item T, number 1, attorney's report, settlement and release agreement for class action lawsuit with Juul and electronic cigarettes. That item has been moved to the March 28th meeting. That concludes any changes in tonight's agenda, Madam Chair.
Thank you, and I will seek a motion to accept the agenda with the revisions just read.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to accept the February 28th, 2023 school board agenda with the revisions as noted.
Second.
Ms. Cunningham and Mr. Sharpless, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. And we will now move on to special recognitions. Superintendent Hyde?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, at this time, I'd like to ask Board Member Lori Cunningham to please step down to participate in special recognitions this evening. At the same time, I'd like to invite Ann Everett, who's already standing there, Senior Director of Acceleration and Innovation, to come forward to recognize 7 students who have been named to National Merit Scholarship semifinalists.
Good evening, everybody.
Good
It's
evening.
nice to see you again. And I'm joined this evening by John Miller, who is our Senior Curriculum Specialist for Accelerated Programs, and Susan Wilcoxon, who is a Senior Coordinator for our high school counseling program. So they're going to assist tonight. I'm super excited tonight to really recognize our National Merit semifinalists. We'd actually planned this recognition earlier in the year, but as you can imagine, these students are among our busiest, and so tonight just happened to be the best night in the challenging scheduling world. The National Merit Program participants take the PSAT in the September of their junior year. And then from those results on the PSAT, the National Merit Corporation, October of their junior year, and then in September of their senior year, the National Merit Corporation actually names the semifinalists. Semifinalists are in the top 1% of all students in the state of Florida. And so it is a huge honor to be a semifinalist. And as you can imagine, their mailboxes begin to fill with all sorts of offers from elite programs around the country. So then our finalists are announced in February, and I'm super excited to share with you tonight that all 7 of our semifinalists are also National Merit finalists. So we've kind of bumped it up a little bit. So doubly excited tonight. Being a semifinalist is a high honor. Being a finalist is a prestigious honor. These students are highly sought after by our most elite programs across the country. And as a matter of fact, in the state of Florida, not a lot of people know this, but National Merit Scholars are actually qualifiers for the Benequisto Scholarship Program. And that provides cost of attendance at 9 universities in Florida. And when I say cost of attendance, it is their full tuition. It is their books. It is their room and board. It is travel. It is everything. So you can imagine the value of being a finalist. So we're super excited for them tonight. So without further ado, we're going to recognize our National Merit finalists for the class of 2023. And when I call their name, I'm going to ask that they come up to receive their recognition and to take a photo with Ms. Cunningham. And principals and heads of program are here this evening. And if you'll come down and join your students for the photo. So we're going to start with Davenport High School. Please join me in recognizing Gianna Junquera and her principal, Alan Duget. Gia, we're going to have you stand right to the side because we'll take a group photo at the end. Perfect, right there. And from Haines City International Baccalaureate, please join me in recognizing Payson Keown and Head of Program, Crystal Young. From International Baccalaureate at Bartow High School, we have 4 students this evening. The first of which is James Barrios, and if Head of Program Mandy Craven will come down and join us as well. Let's give him a round of applause. Next, we have Neil Dave, also from International Baccalaureate at Bartow High School. Next, we have Elijah England from International Baccalaureate at Bartow High School.
He is. We say we have steps.
And lastly, from International Baccalaureate at Bartow High School, Keshav Singh. And our 7th student tonight is Cullen Wyatt from Lakeland Senior High School and his principal, Art Martinez. Congratulations. And if we can get a round of applause. All the students back in front with Ms. Cunningham, and we'll take a group photo.
I don't think he's kidding.
Shortest one's on the end here.
Congratulations. Oh, wait, stay there. Moms and dads, one more smile.
Anyone else?
Congratulations again.
All right.
We're very proud of you guys. Notice the big smiles. I have to say thank you to Susie and John, who entertained them quite properly. They had snacks, they had chips and soda, and they're walking away with slippers, which is a story for another day, but they are well slippered this evening. Thank you so much.
And I don't know that you're allowed to say that and walk away from the microphone. Yeah, really. I'll find out, board members, and relay that story. Next, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce Dr. Pablo Martinez, our World Languages Curriculum Specialist, who will recognize our very own Luisa Meyer of Bartow Middle, who has been recognized as Florida's Foreign Language Teacher of the Year. Not seeing him? Okay. Yeah. We'll give it one moment. Okay. I will make sure we reschedule that. Ms. Cindy Brayton, principal of Davenport School of the Arts, will bring forward their Lighthouse School certification by Franklin Covey Education.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Superintendent Hyde. Just want to share, I'm so proud of our students and staff for receiving this recognition. Because of their excellence in leadership, culture, and academics, we were named Polk County School Board's first Franklin Covey Leader in Me Lighthouse School. I'm turning it over to the stakeholders who made this possible, and that's our students and our staff. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Janice Katz. My genius is synergizing with student leaders to organize school-wide events. As a staff member, I was there at the beginning of this journey when we did a book study together and we learned the paradigm of change starts with me. After all, we can't expect our students to do things that we don't do ourselves. Being named a Lighthouse School is most certainly a highlight, but we realize it is not a final destination. It's a stop along our journey. We have some members of our student Lighthouse teams here this evening, and they're going to share what it's like to be on that student journey with you. So here is Hillary, Cooper, Riley, and Heaven.
Hello, I'm Hilary Bello. My genius is helping people and acting. The 7 habits have greatly impacted my life. Habit number 5, seek first to be understood, then to be understood, has impacted me because it's the most important habit and you can understand both sides. To do that, we have to listen to everyone before we talk. Even in my personal life, I have to come up with win-win situations to help everybody in my family. All this takes time to perfect. Habit number 7, which is about finding balance in your life, which can be hard for me sometimes. But that's the beautiful thing about these habits. You can go at the pace you feel comfortable with. Being a part of a Leader in Me school has helped me understand the importance of why you do things and synergizing. Getting the chance to lead the Student Voice Action Team has helped me expand my leadership skills and communication skills. Having the chance to present both in front of my peers and at symposium has given me the chance to understand synergize with my peers. Davenport School of the Arts has made me feel a part of a family. It has given me amazing friends and mentors. Thank you. Here is Cooper.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. My name is Cooper Katz, and my genius is a jazz saxophonist. The habit that impacts me the most is habit 6, which is synergize. In our jazz band and rock band classes, it is all student-led and directed. The students in rock band do everything from finding songs and helping to find parts, to performing all on our own with a little help when it's needed from our band director. To be successful in our jazz band, we synergize. Once our teacher, Mr. Brown, has given us the music and we've learned it, it is all student-led and directed. When Mr. Brown does this, he is using the core paradigm number 4, empower students to lead their own learning. In band, as well as other arts and academic classes, when we use the habits, it's not just to learn academics, but to learn the whole person. Without teachers teaching like the way Mr. Brown does using these core paradigms, I would not be doing things like getting leads in school plays, traveling around the whole state of Florida performing, or even presenting to you like I am today. I'm thankful for all the things Davenport School of the Arts and the habits have helped me learn. Now here's Riley in heaven.
Hi, my name is Riley Leonard. I'm a 5th grade student at DSA, and my genius is creativity. All students from kindergarten to 8th grade have a leadership portfolio that they add to each year. Students share their portfolio with their parents at student-led conferences. My leadership portfolio has an All About Me section, which includes my class, school, and personal mission statement. My celebration section includes the things I have achieved this year, both at school and home. My leadership section includes my leadership victories at school and home, as well as my strengths and good things others have said about me. Now here's Heaven to tell you more about her leadership portfolio.
Good evening. My name is Heaven Belai. I'm in 7th grade, and my genius is playing the piano. So in our leadership portfolios, we have a My Learning section. In this section, we have 2 charts where we graph our ELA and math scores. This is my ELA chart. These charts let us see how much we have improved since our previous tests. Our goal every time we take the test is to see our scores increase. Though if by any chance they do decrease, our teacher helps us make goals that will help our scores increase. In our leadership portfolios, we also have a WIG section, which stands for Widely Important Goals. At Davenport School of the Arts, we have 3 school-wide WIGs, which are progress monitoring, community service, and attendance. At DSA, we also have lead measures, which used to be in our leadership portfolios, but us students have found it much easier to track them by having it in our lead books, which we bring to school every single day. So everyone has a math, reading, and personal WIG. We have lead measures, which are also called action steps that help us achieve our goal or WIG that we set with our teachers. For example, my math WIG is to move up 1 achievement level, and my action step to reach that goal is to do 4 or more topics in ALEX each week. Every time I do an action step, I track it onto the calendar with the symbol of my choice, and the calendar lets us see if we have done our action steps or if we have not. We even have accountability partners that keep us on track. Having goals and lead measures have helped me with my learning overall in the past few years and have affected my life in very good ways. Now, before I introduce the next speaker, I would like to honor all of the Lighthouse students that came today. Thank you. Now here's the next speaker, Ms. Marikowski.
Good evening. My name is Mandy Marikowski, and I am a 5th grade math and science teacher at Davenport School of the Arts, and I work with our fabulous elementary Lighthouse team. Becoming a Lighthouse school has been a collaborative effort between staff, teachers, students, administrators, parents, and families. And this is just a small part of our greatness and our genius that we have at DSA each and every day. Thank you.
And finally, my name is Karen Westfall. I teach kindergarten and I advise the middle school Lighthouse team, so I'm kind of all over the place. My genius is creativity, and I have grown through this framework both as a person and a professional, but I've also seen my own personal children as a parent and as a teacher, seeing my students grow through this framework. And we can't thank you enough for having us here tonight. Each of our students have a gift for our school board members. That will be the Leader in Me book by Dr. Covey. And a QR code is found within that book that will give you a link to our presentation that we used for our Lighthouse certification. That really allows you to see all of the ways that DSA shines through culture, leadership, and academics. And an invitation to Leadership Day on April 28th, which is a very special day at DSA. Thank you so much.
Is there an extra? You can put it at mine. Somebody's putting it at Kay's. Would you put it up there at my spot? So now we need a group photo, right? Group photo.
I'll ask Ms. Brayton. Ms. Brayton? Ms. Brayton? Principal Brayton?
Yes, sir.
If I may, I just want to confirm my counts right, because I'm working with Miami-Dade School Math. So 17 students and 4 staff were here tonight?
Yes.
Okay, and then does the high school, and I was hoping Mr. Duget had stuck around for a minute, but since some of your students matriculate to the high school, is there a conveyance of this up to high school? Do they continue with the Covey?
They do not. There's actually one other Leader in Me school in Polk County, and it's Carlton Palmore.
Okay.
And then there is a charter Polk Avenue, that is a Leader in Me Lighthouse school as well. But those are the only 3 that do Lighthouse.
Yeah, I may have a conversation with Mr. Duget at the
Well, and I will say, I will say, if you reach out to Hillary Bello,
why not continue the program throughout?
Absolutely.
I will tell you, it's very impressive.
Thank you.
It's not easy to walk up to 7, 8 strangers and shake their hand and say, thank you for having us, but you all did an amazing job. Great eye contact. So I'm really impressed by all of you. Thank you.
If you're interested, see Hillary Bello, because she talked to me for 50 minutes on the way here about starting it when she goes to Davenport High School.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. Thank you. What an amazing, impressive group. Madam Chair, unless we have found Dr. Martinez, our last item for special recognition tonight is I'd like to ask Ms. Jessica Anderson, curriculum specialist, to please come forward where she will recognize the Polk County School Board for their support in agriculture advocacy.
And we'll give them just a second to get out. They got a long drive home.
Yes, they do.
Board members, I know there's a postcard in our books, but just a reminder, they have April 28th as their Leader in Me Day, so you should have already gotten an invitation to that. But if you haven't been before, it's really cool.
The 28th, the Leader Day.
All right, good evening. I'm Jessica Anderson. I'm the curriculum specialist in Workforce Education Office. I cover the agriculture, public service, and industrial areas, content areas. And I'm here this evening to thank you for your support in Polk County AgriFest. For those of you that are not familiar with that, this is year 34 of Polk County AgriFest, where we invite all the 4th grade classes to come to the Polk County Agricultural Center here in Bartow. And we have industry leaders that, along with some volunteers from the community, host 6 stations where students can have an introduction to agricultural education. Those topics include phosphate, beef cattle, citrus, small farms, horticulture, and forestry. So all of those topics are extremely important in agriculture to Polk County. They employ a ton of citizens that live here in Polk County, and we find it to be extremely important for our students to be aware of that. This year, year 34, we have 4,603 students that will be coming to Polk County AgriFest March 1st through the 10th, which that equates to 214 classrooms district-wide. We offer this to our public schools,
private, charter, and homeschool students as well. So it is open to everyone, and we are at max capacity this year, so we'll be adding 2 more days next year to accommodate a few extra folks that may be wanting to get in there. While we recognize that not everyone's involved in production agriculture these days, we are all consumers of agriculture, so we find it to be imperative to continue agriculture advocacy to our students and to their parents in Polk County. So we appreciate your support, and on behalf of Polk County Farm Bureau, they gifted you some strawberries to thank you as well. That is their contribution. They are one of the major partners, along with University of Florida IFAS, and then all of the partners with each of the stations that put AgriFest together each year. So just wanted to thank you for your support.
Thank you. Madam Chair, Ms. Cunningham, this concludes our special recognitions for today.
Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. And next will be public comments for items on the agenda. And before we begin, I would like to both welcome the public and go over our public comment process for opportunities for this evening. We will have 2 opportunities for public comment this evening. The first will be for items on this evening's agenda to be voted upon. And then at the end of the meeting, we will have an additional opportunity for public comment on items that are not on this evening's agenda. To register to speak, community members must fill out a speaker card in the lobby prior to the meeting. All speakers will be given 3 minutes. The clock will give you a warning sound when you have 1 minute left. Please give your name for the record, and all comments should be directed to myself as the board chair. As a reminder, public comments are an opportunity for us to hear your thoughts, and this is not a question and answer session. However, if you are seeking additional information, I encourage you to contact any of us or the superintendent's office outside of board meetings, and we would be happy to have deeper conversations. Before we begin, there is a red line over here, so if I say you are on deck, if you could make your way to the red line, and that'll just make it go a little bit quicker. So first is going to be Stephanie Yoakum, and then on deck will be Glinda White.
Are you ready? All right, Stephanie Yoakum, I'm the president of the Polk Education Association. I am speaking on item Q6, which is before you today for the ratification of our 3 contracts with some language revisions that are brought before you tonight. As you were told at the work session, our units ratified this overwhelmingly last Tuesday night. With teachers at 92%, paras at 93%, our ESPs voting at 94%. So we are, as you also were aware this afternoon, we are splitting the ratification into 2 sections this year, into language so that we can get the language part taken care of, and then knowing that we have a little bit more work ahead of us with the salaries as we look to fix compression in all 3 contracts. We know that's going to take a little bit more time to really drill down to and start working this through. And so both parties wanted to come back together to get the language part done so that we could focus on the salary piece once the state budget is released at early May when the legislative session is over. As we have always done, we encourage you to vote yes tonight. Our units have overwhelmingly voted yes, and we would like to continue that streak of the board also voting yes. There is language in here that is beneficial to all parties, and we encourage a yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Next will be Glinda White, and on deck is Bernard Wells.
Hello, everyone. My name is Glinda White. I'm a Winter Haven resident. I want to address several issues on the agenda tonight. First is what was item P, Qualtrics. I have serious concerns about the purchase and use of Qualtrics. I'm concerned that uses will, over time, extend from evaluating teachers to collecting data from students. If Polk schools collect information from students as part of the teacher evaluation process, they have already opened the door to student data collection. I'm concerned about the use of this software with its far-left value system for teacher evaluations. Will teachers who don't share woke values begin receiving poor evaluation once the tool is introduced? Let's compare Qualtrics values to their largest major competitor, SurveyMonkey. SurveyMonkey's corporate employees' values include be accountable, trust the team, prioritize health, listen to customers, and celebrate the journey. Qualtrics values include diversity, equity, and inclusion. SurveyMonkey clearly focuses on the customer and Qualtrics on far-left politics. Cost comparisons. SurveyMonkey charges a subscription price of $75 per month per user for a wide array of platform uses, or $30,000 approximately over a three-year period for 10 subscribers. Polk schools are planning to purchase almost $500,000 over the next 3 years for Qualtrics. Taxpayers and the county commission should be aware of the extreme amount of this purchase. I understand the importance of effective and fair annual evaluations for teachers if we're to retain them. However, we don't have to spend $500,000 to do it. Do Polk taxpayers want to support and enrich companies that subscribe to values that harm their kids and nation? I'm against this purchase. I ask you to vote no and choose something that is reasonably priced and more amenable to Polk values. Please do not approve this purchase. I'm also wanting to speak on the item Q5. The proposed mass purchase of books for schools is understandable since the time to spend ESSER funds is going to expire. However, the books number in the tens of thousands. I'm asking the board to extend the time for public review to at least 60 days to allow for a fair public review of the books and bring up challenges to questionable titles. We cannot possibly properly review all these books in 30 days. And I have an additional comment. All phone contacts on the website for school board members are their cell phones except for K Fields. We need to put their school board numbers on there so we can reach their staff and talk to them. This should be taken care of immediately. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. White. Next is Bernard Wells.
Good evening. My name is Bernard Wells, and I will be speaking to agenda item L6, the staffing update. Whether the board considers the staffing plan, the reorganization chart that was discussed in the in the meeting earlier today, I want to speak to that reorganization chart, particularly concerning the learning support. And my question to the board would be, when has the board ever given a retroactive approval for an organization chart that has already been approved for the fiscal year? It appears to me that Superintendent Hyde is trying to make legitimate positions that are not legitimate on the organization chart, where folks in those illegitimate positions have been working since August of 22. He and other high-level staff are attempting to match their dishonest deeds by asking this board to vote, approve, and retroact 22-23 organization chart to cover up the dishonest deeds and deceptions that have been given to the general public and the staff of the Polk County School Board. Mr. Hyde, public taxpayers are watching and monitoring all of your actions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wells. As we move into the consent agenda, just a reminder to board members, I've opened all of your mics. Please don't turn them off because we need to hear you vote. So our first item will be our approval of the minutes. So D1 is approval of the minutes from the February 14th, 2023 school work session meeting. And I will seek a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sharpless and Ms. Cunningham. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries. Right, our second set of minutes will be for the January 24th, 2023 school work session meeting. And I will seek a motion.
So move. Second.
Dr. Allen and Mr. Sharpless. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And the motion carries. And then our last set of minutes will be for the January 24th, 2023 school board meeting. And I will seek a motion to approve this set of minutes.
Move to approve. Second.
Ms. Miller and Dr. Allen. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Our next item will be the approval of the consent agenda, and I will seek a motion to approve.
Move to approve. Second.
Ms. Miller and Mr. Sharpless. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And please make sure you're voting on your computer as well, is the message I just got. And the motion carries.
Spinning.
All right. Superintendent Hyde, do we have any new administrators?
We do, Madam Chair, members of the board. We have several new administrators we'd like to welcome and introduce this evening. We're first going to start with LaTroy Andrews, Assistant Principal at Jesse Keene Elementary, who is a new hire from Volusia County Public Schools. Please come forward, say a few words, introduce any family members you have. Oh, yes, ma'am, this is your opportunity.
To the mic.
You can come over to the dais right here. We got a nice little microphone.
Hi, good evening. I apologize. I thought that my bio would be read, but I'm always prepared. My name is LaTroy Andrews. I'm super excited. I was actually getting an opportunity to introduce myself to Jesse King. I'm the newest assistant principal at Jesse King. Excited. This is my second year as an assistant principal. I was an administrative dean in DeSoto County as well as in Orange County. So I'm excited to be in Polk County. As my family here, we serve here for about 8 years in Polk County. So I'm glad to be home.
Do you have any family here tonight you want to introduce? Or?
I do not. My husband's doing Bible study, so.
Okay.
And my son is in basketball, so I apologize.
Things in this
So
world.
absolutely, it's good. So they're excited. I do have the support of my family. So
Congratulations
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Just one moment. I'm gonna take a selfie.
It is, without a doubt, a very different generation of administrators.
I'm trying to get in.
In a million years, I wouldn't have thought to do a selfie up there.
Listen,
Good for you. Good for you.
Kids are going to have a good time.
And I want to make sure I pronounce this right. Is it Tara or Tara? Tara, thank you. Whoever phonetically spelled this did not do it justice. McDowell, Director of Payroll, has been promoted to Senior Director of Payroll.
Hello, everyone.
So I have been mispronouncing your name for the last few weeks, and you've been too kind to correct me.
I just let
So,
it go.
thank you.
I am deeply honored and humble and incredibly excited to be standing before you tonight. I accept this role and responsibility of the Senior Director of Payroll. I would like to thank the board, Superintendent Hyde, Jason, and Heather for your trust and continued support as I take on this new role. I would also like to thank Dana. She's watching. She would have been here tonight. For the long nights and training and support and encouragement that she has given me to prepare me for this role. I would lastly like to thank my parents, Harry and Jerry McDowell, who is also here tonight, my son, Tyler, who is also here tonight, and my mentors, Mr. Jason and Laquita Looney, and families and friends and colleagues for all your support. I look forward to continue serving to this great district of Polk County. Thank you.
So while she takes her photo, I do want to note that Ms. McDowell is a prime example of succession leadership. Ms. Torres, and I hope she is watching, we owe her a debt of thanks. As you know, when I first arrived, I interviewed every single department to find out what our succession leadership plans were, only to find out that many did not have anyone in the pipeline. This is a department that stood out. And Dana, prior to her departure, spent long hours and nights making sure that she's prepared, and she continues to support her. They've got such a great working relationship, but I just wanted to hold that up as a shining example of what we need to do to make sure that the next generation of leaders are ready to fill those voids and take on a new charge. And she's done an amazing job. She hit the ground running. She did not hesitate when I asked her if she was interested in the position, and kudos to her and her family. So thank you very much for all the time you give us. Next, we have Heather Whiteside, testing coordinator at Rochelle School of the Arts, who's now been promoted to assistant principal at Willow Oak Elementary.
Good evening. First, I would like to thank the board, Superintendent Hyde, Deputy Superintendent Green, and Dr. Henry for this opportunity. I have been very fortunate to work for and learn from some very amazing administrators, Julie Ward, Rebecca Ekman, Carol Griffin, Carolyn Bryant, and Lee Brackman. I'm looking forward to learning and growing even more with Michelle Townley at Willow Oak. With me tonight, I have my son and my mom and my aunt. I have several friends.
Please wave.
Many colleagues.
Oh, there you go.
They're kind of all spread out. So I'm very thankful again, and thank you so much, and know that every day is a great day to be a Blue Jay.
Congratulations. Next, we have Ms. Jenna Short, Director for Personnel, being promoted to Senior Director of Personnel. I do not see her with us this evening. Okay. Ashley Lamb, school-based math coach at Purcell Elementary, has now been promoted to acting assistant principal at Purcell Elementary. Congratulations.
Thank you for having me tonight. I knew when I was in pre-K that I was going to be a teacher because I fell in love with Miss Tanya, and she had a profound impact on my life. And so I have spent many years in Mulberry being a Miss Tanya and striving to have an impact like she had an impact on me. So I'm very excited to be back in Mulberry with Purcell and so many of the kiddos that I knew from Kingsford, so many familiar faces. So I'm just, very excited to serve them and to love them in this capacity. And the whole crew is here. I have 4 children. They're all scattered over there. My husband and my mother-in-law is here.
Can we get a wave? There we go. And as we always do, we want to thank families because the commitment and time and effort that our administrators put in each and every day means it's time away from their own family and loved ones, and so we appreciate your continued support as well. So thank you very much. And lastly, we have a transfer. Eric Otheson, assistant principal at Purcell Elementary, is transferring to be the assistant principal at Frostproof Ben Hill Griffin Elementary. I do not see him with us this evening. Okay. That concludes new administrators for this evening, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. And we will give a moment for everyone who doesn't want to stay for the rest of our party to head out. This really is the most exciting part. I'm sorry you're going to miss it. But I understand.
Did you ever hear from this? I heard that they're wheeling her back right now. Like 10 minutes ago, they're wheeling her back to check.
Board members, were you all able to get back into, or are we still having problems with board docs?
We'll try it on the queue.
Is it it's popping up to vote? On your screen, it's popping up to vote for board docs?
No.
You may need, if you go to meetings, you may need to join the meeting and make sure you're in.
I did.
Okay.
I've been in it the whole time.
Okay.
Go back and join just.
But if I say yeah, they should know. This is crazy.
I went all the way out and went back in.
Okay. All right, moving on to our action agenda. The first item on our action agenda is Q1, which is the purchase of Qualtrics. So the motion, we'll seek a motion to approve the purchase of Qualtrics LLC Teaching and Learning in the amount of $468,881.25 over a 3-year period. Just a second. Somebody turn the mics off. Okay. Go ahead.
So moved.
Second.
I have Dr. Allen and Ms. Cunningham. Any discussion? Superintendent Hyde, I believe you were going to have somebody prepared.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, at this time, if Mr. McNaughton would please come forward.
Good evening, Madam Chair, honorable board members, Superintendent Hyde. First, I'd like to start off by saying Qualtrics will not have any access to student data, or students will not have access actually to Qualtrics.
Yes.
Sorry, you're really
Sorry about that. I know. I was also talking to Ms. Yoakum in the back. This is not going to be used for the teacher evaluation system. Because teachers' names are not even included in the actual platform. And Ms. Yoakum has also been part of our walkthroughs, for the standards-based walkthroughs, so she knows that this is not part of the evaluation system. Polk County Public Schools is requesting to work with Qualtrics to create and host 2 different data dashboards for the district's standard-based instructional walkthrough tool and a new district-created walkthrough tool for the corrective reading intervention programs. The questions on both the walkthrough tools and the district-created Qualtrics will make those. We'll make the questions for it. Qualtrics will only make our tool electronic, so data can be entered in an administrator's device and then displayed on a custom displays where the school and district leaders can analyze the data and to check for fidelity of implementing the programs. Only school and district leaders will have access to the electronic tools and dashboards. Students will not have access to the Qualtrics created electronic tools or dashboard. Also, Qualtrics is not providing any questions or any curriculum for the tool. Qualtrics is making our district-created electronic form electronic so that data can be displayed, so actions can be taken to increase student outcomes. Qualtrics will have no access to individual student data, such as a student's name, school, age, scores. Qualtrics will be using classroom data that is entered by a district or school leader. For the standards-based walkthrough tool, the data will include, for the standards focus board, is the benchmark posted? Is the teacher using the benchmark to guide instruction? Are students using it to guide their learning? For instructional delivery, does the instruction match the focus board, or does the materials used align to the benchmarks? For using appropriate use of formative and summative assessments, it's talking about teachers are conducting ongoing learning checks. It's also saying, does the activity meet and determine the level of mastery of the benchmark? For our corrective reading walkthrough form would include what is the corrective reading level of the classroom, what lesson is the lesson on, and classroom look-fors similar to the standard-based walkthrough form, but we're still working on that, and I'll get that to you when it is complete. Qualtrics was chosen because they will create custom data displays, and they also allow for leaders entering the data to take pictures of artifacts in the classroom, such as instructional tasks and assessment items, to better capture the student experience in the classroom. Pictures will not be taken of any students. Qualtrics is used in 32 different entities in the state of Florida, and this includes 5 school districts, which is Pasco, Orange, Duval, Seminole, and Florida Virtual School. 12 colleges and universities, including Florida State University, the University of Florida, University of Miami, University of South Florida, and University of Central Florida. And 9 state of Florida departments, such as the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Service, Department of Children and Families, Department of Transportation, and the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. In conclusion, Qualtrics will not have access to student data or pictures, and students will not have access to this. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Thank you, Mr. McNaughton.
Yeah.
All right, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. All right, the next item is Q2, Bellicita Elementary Name Amendment. And I will seek a motion to approve the recommended name amendment from Bellicita Elementary to Bellicita, it's Bellicita K-8?
Bellicita, no K.
Just Bellicita, okay.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the recommended name from Bellicita Elementary to Bellicita.
Second.
Ms. Cunningham, and was that Mr. Sharpless? Your voices sound very similar on my left side, so I apologize. So Ms. Cunningham and Mr. Sharpless, and is there any discussion? Ms. Cunningham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The naming committee met last week on Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023, at Bellicita Elementary School. We had members from our community represented, parents, district staff, school staff, and myself. And it was a great time where we had an opportunity to discuss several different names that were being presented, both by the community and by the teachers at the school. And we had a lively discussion, and ultimately, we bring to you today's recommendation, as it was a unanimous vote to bring forward the name, just the name, Bellicita. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cunningham. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Next on our agenda will be Q3, the Polk County Value Adjustment Board appointments. And just as a reminder, at our last work session, we discussed needing new appointment and alternate because the timing changed a little bit for those meetings. And we discussed Ms. Fields being the district liaison and then myself being the alternate. So we'll seek a motion at this time to appoint Kay Fields as the district's liaison to the Polk County Value Adjustment Board and Sarah Beth Wyatt as the alternate.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sharpless and Ms. Miller, any discussion?
I just want to thank both Ms. Fields as well as Chair Wyatt for stepping up to the plate. Originally, I was on this committee, but there was a confusion about the time it met, and so I just want to thank you both for stepping up and serving.
Absolutely. Thank you, Justin. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. Q4 is our half-cent sales tax oversight committee appointment. So I'll seek a motion to approve Nicholas L. Francisco to the half-cent sales tax oversight committee.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sharpless and Ms. Miller, any discussion? Mr. Sharpless.
Thank you. Mr. Francisco actually came up and approached me about wanting to help our school system and serve, and specifically for the Sales Tax Oversight Committee. He has a good experience. He's got an engineer kind of mind, and I think that's something that's important to add to a committee like the half-cent sales tax oversight. So when someone comes up to you and wants to serve, you find a place to help them serve. And I think this will be a very great opportunity for him.
Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Next will be Q5, which is the purchase of library books for elementary schools, K-8 middle schools, middle senior, and high schools. So I'll seek a motion to approve titles that are on the attached book list.
Move to approve.
Second.
Ms. Miller and Dr. Allen, any discussion? Seeing none. Oh. Mr. Sharpless.
Sure. I was wondering if Superintendent Hyde, you could speak to the opportunity the public has for comment into this, the book adoptions in general, potentially why all these were grouped together and for one large purchase. If you kind of speak to that.
So I addressed that last time at the last meeting, but I'm more than happy to readdress that issue. So I'll start with this purchase. This purchase, if you recall, when we established our criteria at the beginning of the school year for textbook purchases and library materials purchases, in order to be in compliant with state statute and the expectations, we told schools that they would not be able to buy books throughout the school year for their media centers. We put them each on a specific calendar in which they would have to submit their book order requests so that they could be reviewed by our certified staff. The district staff did that over several months and then brought this comprehensive procurement, even though it's not one large procurement on behalf of necessarily the district, it's a culmination of procurements for all of our elementary, middle, and high schools, which is why the list is incredibly long. Most of the books, as you know, are already in some of our circulation, so all of our schools do not have exactly the same books, but any book that was procured was in alignment with books that are already existing in our school district. None of the previously challenged books, to my knowledge, are included in this list. Anyone moving forward, as we did last time with the procurement, and so 30 days has since passed since the last approval for the board for library materials. That was the adoption period for public review, or the public review period in which someone could contest one of those materials. So now, after 30 days have passed without any notice from anyone as to having concerns with any of those materials, they will go ahead and initiate the purchase order. The same holds true for this purchase. There will be 30 days in which we will hold the procurement. Following the procurement, any Polk County resident still retains the right to challenge a book at the individual school level, and there is a process outlined in board policy and in statute and rule that speaks to how we have to provide and perform those reviews, and at which time they can challenge the book at the individual school level. So again, there's two remaining opportunities for any stakeholder. One, in the next 30 days, if the board were to approve this purchase, they may contest an item, and then we would conduct a review. Number two, once purchased at any time in the book's future, someone can protest or ask for a book to be reviewed again.
And just a follow-up question. So if this is approved tonight, when will students actually have access to these books?
More than likely not until the beginning of the upcoming school year, because 30 days has to pass before we can actually initiate the PO. We then have to take delivery of all these books. They all have to be barcoded and then manually entered into the Destiny system. And again, that would then provide parents with the opportunity to object or opt out of any books for next school year that would be new additions to their current school campus library. So I would anticipate the amount of time it would take for all of these things to be delivered, not only to the school district, but then to be single point delivered back to individual school sites, barcoded, entered into Destiny, made available to students. We're looking August, September of next school year.
So if anyone were to protest a book, they basically have, for any student actually has access to it, would be all the way till next school year.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, yes and no. If that book is new to that school but is in existence in another library, I want to make sure we clarify that some of these books are renewed purchases of other books we've already purchased, but may not be included in every elementary library. Hopefully that makes sense.
Oh, it does.
Okay.
That's all my questions.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Sharpless. Any further discussion on Q5? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Last but not least on our action agenda will be item Q6, settlement of 2023-2024 Polk Education Association contract language. And I will seek a motion to approve the Polk Education Association revised contract language for teachers, paraeducators, and educational support personnel pending ratification by the bargaining units. Which is no longer pending ratification because they already ratified. Okay. So not pending ratification. Okay. Okay.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the Polk Education Association revised contract language for teachers, paraeducators, and educational support personnel.
Second.
Ms. Cunningham and Ms. Miller, any discussion? Ms. Cunningham?
Thank you. I just want to say, I said it in the work session, I'd like to say it here tonight at the board meeting. I'm very proud of the work that our staff has done, along with Ms. Yoakum with Polk Education Association. As I said earlier today, we might be on two ends of the spectrum, but the bottom line is we have to do what's right. Bottom line for our students, and taking care of our teachers and our personnel is very crucial and important to that end. So I just want to say thank you to Mr. Pitts and his team, Superintendent Hyde for your leadership, Ms. Yoakum for your leadership in bringing the group together to take this very first step in moving forward. And let it be noted that the language in here, they've extended it an extra year to 2026. And I think that's one of the first times we've ever been able to do that. So I'm very proud of the work and the effort, and I just want to say thank you on behalf of the kids, because they're the ones that are going to benefit. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Cunningham. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Right, next will be our superintendent's report.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, the next work session and board meeting will be held on March 28th, 2023. The work session will begin at 12:30 p.m. and the board meeting will begin at 5 p.m. The meetings will be held at the district office located at 1915 South Laurel Avenue in Bartow. I'd also like to give a shout out to our Winter Haven ladies, Blue Devils. Got to watch them Saturday night play in the state finals. They led the entire game, got to the fourth quarter. It became very close. Other teams sank 2 3-pointers in a row, and it went down to the very last second, and we almost got the inbounds pass stolen. And I have no doubt that those ladies would have triumphed at that time. But I'll tell you, they played amazingly well, great sportsmanship. It's a very young team, so I'm excited at the opportunities that still lie ahead of them. We had several other teams make it up to the tournament, Lakeland and others. Unfortunately, were not able to proceed in the bracket. Friday, Winter Haven boys will play at 2:30 for a chance to play in the state championship on Saturday. And then also, I'd like to give a lot of credit to Ryan Van and Lake Gibson High School. They have 12 state wrestlers going to tournament this weekend. I'm sorry, I just realized Ms. Miller said I'm stealing her thunder, so I will stop there.
No, it's fine. Please continue.
Fine.
But what an amazing team that they've built over the years, what a legacy they've created there. So it'll be exciting. Hopefully some of us can get over there and watch that tournament over in Kissimmee. Saturday is also the red carpet event for Harrison School of the Arts and their silent auction. So that's a great opportunity. And again, this is a great time of the year to celebrate our students. You saw academic success modeled here throughout the evening, whether it was the merit scholars and the finalists or the other students that came in from Davenport School of the Arts, really exemplifying what it is to be a strong student leader. But we have those examples across our school district, and that's why I try to take the opportunity to highlight them. And not just in athletics. We have some amazing students across the board, so we should take every opportunity to recognize them and the amazing team of dedicated staff we have that support and nurture that craft. So thank you for the opportunity this evening. That concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. And Mr. Bridges?
Thank you, ma'am. I have a single item that we discussed at work session earlier. This is approval of the proposed workers' compensation settlement between Sandra Spring Kane and the School Board of Polk County. And the motion would be motion to approve the proposed workers' compensation settlement between Sandra Spring Kane and the School Board of Polk County, Florida, in the amount of $254,666.66, inclusive of permanent total disability benefits, temporary benefits, lost wages, past medical expenses, future medical expenses, claim and attorney fees, a required Medicare set-aside agreement, and any and all other claims arising out of the work-related injury, and to authorize the board chair and the superintendent of schools and the general counsel to execute all related documents incident to the settlement of this claim. And all that is necessary to make that motion is to say so move.
Thank you, Mr. Bridges. I will seek a motion.
Move to approve what Mr. Bridges just said. Take me an hour to do that. Yes. Basically, we're approving the motion to approve the proposed workmen's compensation settlement
Yes,
between
ma'am.
Sandra Spring Kane and the School Board of Polk County, Florida, in the amount of $254,666.66.
And we need a second. Ms. Cunningham and Ms. Miller. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And the motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and we'll have for you at the next board meeting the item that was originally scheduled for tonight, but we'll have it at that time.
Thank you, Mr. Bridges.
Thank you, ma'am.
And next is Ms. Matthews, Internal Auditor Report.
To incorporate changes in Florida Statute 1001.42 that outlines the requirements for internal auditors of district school boards.
Thank you, Ms. Matthews. And I'll seek a motion to approve the revised internal audit charter to include changes in Florida statute and position title.
So move.
Second.
Dr. Allen and Mr. Sharpless, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? And the motion carries. And next we will go to board reports, and we will start with Dr. Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just wanted to say congratulations to Miss Andrews. She was that really cool young lady that took the selfie for her new position at Jesse Keene. I think she's going to be a great fit under Dr. Dentley. It was also great to see previous principal of Jesse Keene, Mr. Griffin, in the audience, who has retired within the school district. And he is still so active in serving our students around the district in so many different capacities. So thanks to Ms. Andrews and the energy that she's going to bring to our students. If you noticed as well, we've got somebody that's a little bit more clean shaven tonight. So I just wanted to say thanks to Superintendent Hyde for taking part in the Save It or Shave It fundraiser with the United Way, and I think they did a really good job. The goatee's looking pretty good on you there, and I'm sure Miss Patty is quite happy that it was not saved. And then lastly, I just want to say thanks to the board members for allowing me to participate in the Florida School Board Association Finance Forum, and it was very enlightening, and again, an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to add items to our tool belt as it relates to school finance, and look forward to just serving and understanding that and growing in that moving forward. So thank you, Madam Chair. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. Ms. Cunningham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've got a couple items. The first is I want to say a kudos to Ms. Lana Stripling for being able to host the Northeast Polk Chamber of Commerce annual luncheon that recognizes our Teachers of the Year and our school-related employees of the year in Northeast Polk County, which encompasses the towns of Dundee, Haines City, Davenport, Laufman, and Point Siena. We had a wonderful luncheon. It was very well attended. Most of the principals were there to accompany their teachers and school-related employees of the year. And I thought it was really nice. I think it's the first time that the chamber worked hard to get sponsors. So each of the principals and their teacher and school-related employee of the year had a complimentary lunch to tell them thank you and how much we appreciate the work that they do. So it was a great luncheon. So thank you to the chamber for continuing this legacy in Northeast Polk. Additionally, as we all know, we've had some safety issues around the county. I know particularly in the east side of the county, we've had some really awful accidents. And that I think could have been prevented with a little bit of better safety measures on all of us. I was talking with one of the moms from Davenport School of the Arts where this situation occurred about 2 weeks ago, and she works for Disney. And she said to me, "Do you know what our slogan is?" And I said, "No, ma'am, I don't." She said, "If you look everywhere when you go on Disney property, it says, 'Safety, it begins with me.'" And so through all of this, and most of you may have read what happened. I'm not going to go into that, into people's personal lives, but one was a tragedy in Lake Wales, and then we had a young girl severely injured, Davenport High School. So I talked to Superintendent Hyde, and I said, what can we do? Because when you think about it, safety does begin with me. I need to make good choices. Where I walk, do I look both ways before I cross the street? It's the little things that make a difference. And so I know Superintendent is starting a safety campaign to go across our district. And I don't know if you can, 2 sentences, if you want to just add to what I have to, because I think it's really important. It's on the minds of so many parents today because of these needless accidents that are occurring, hurting our kids. I mean, what's the point of sending them to school if they're going to get injured? But safety begins with me, and we need to get that message out to everybody. Superintendent Hyde, would you just say a few words, sir?
Sure. So there's several things that we're working on. We just recently surveyed all of our campuses to determine which ones did not have adequacy of egress, crosswalks, flashers, safety, those safety features we normally associate with schools. We're working more closely with law enforcement to make sure that they have a heightened visibility and presence during school hours. We did, especially for that school, those 2 schools in particular, got all their flashers repaired, got additional street lighting installed. The sidewalk is in progress. The engineers just had a concern where the crosswalk might be. But we have an informational campaign we launched last week, starting with a letter that went home to parents. There will be more posters and information and flyers available in our schools. We also asked Mr. Talbot and his team. They teach pedestrian safety through our elementary curriculum, through the health curriculum. So they'll be teaching that now twice a year. Normally it's taught in the spring, which, as we talked about, it doesn't make much sense to teach it towards the end of the school year. Let's move it to the start of the school year to make sure pedestrian safety remains a highlight. And again, that whole, really talking with students, be present when you're crossing streets. We now have a tendency to stare at our devices. We have our earbuds in, we have our hoodies on, we have hats on. And in those dim early morning hours, all it takes is one slight moment where we make a mistake. We walk out in front of traffic or we do those things. And the last thing we need is another tragedy for our students or anyone else even injured for that matter. So we've got to get people to slow down and realize that school's in session. And the Sheriff's Department, as you know, partners with us to make sure that he messages that each and every year. So a lot of initiatives are still development. There'll be a series of videos that are released as well for families and students so that we continue to reiterate the message. It won't just be a one-time message. It'll be something that's consistently discussed throughout the year as a reminder.
Thank you. And I have one more thing, Madam Chair. Spring break is approaching, so I wish everybody some time to relax and rejuvenate. We all need some time off to kind of recharge. However, as I always say, readers are leaders. So I encourage every parent out there with the wonderful library cooperative system that we have throughout Polk County, take your kid to a library, check out some books, and make sure that they continue to read to not lose the skills that they've learned thus far this year over that week break. So readers are leaders. Continue to read. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Cunningham. Mr. Nolte?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Superintendent Hyde. And I concur with what Dr. Williams, Dr. Allen said, and what Ms. Cunningham said. We've got some great learning going on out there in Polk County. I've been all over the place in South Lakeland and thereabouts. I've seen awesome concerts. I've been in different functions, fairs, visits. And we've got some great teachers and some great paras and just some super people all the way across the board that work here in Polk County. And I just hope that when they have that Tallahassee Senate and House, hope they can find some more greenbacks to send down here. And especially people in the middle of the pack of the teachers, because I was a teacher for 36 years plus, and it's tough to see that first-year teacher getting the big money, which they deserve. But I'd like to see that spread out, and I know that Superintendent Hyde, we're working on it, and we're crushing the numbers, and hopefully we can get it done. And what you said about the spring break, I wish everybody had super spring break. Pay attention. I had somebody walk in front of me this morning at a crossing, and I was going, 15 miles an hour, and I had a feeling the kid wasn't paying attention. He had the ear pods in, and he just walked right smack dab in front of me. So as a parent, I definitely would tell my son and my daughter, don't even put an ear. I wouldn't even let them take them to school. But anyway, that's aside the point. But be aware of your situation around you. You've only got a split second sometimes, and if you make the wrong decision, you won't be here tomorrow. But you parents and grandparents and guardians, please keep coming. Keep on the PTO, keep in the PTA, keep backing your schools, keep after us, and just know that we can all work together and make this the best school system in Florida. So again, happy spring break, and thank you so much for everything. God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Nolte. Mr. Sharpless?
Yeah, skipped over over you, right? So there's a lot that I want to cover. I'm going to try to be very succinct. First, I had the opportunity to judge the parliamentary procedure contest for our District 8, which is our county FFA contest. These kids at the parliamentary procedure contest probably could give us all a lesson up here on parliamentary procedure, because they were top notch, and I wish them the best when they compete at the state contest in June. Also was able to attend the scenic K-8 topping out ceremony. Interesting model. If you guys would ever want to learn about what's happening at scenic K-8, interesting model, the way to build a school, and so it's something that I think we need to continue to pursue. The Cambridge, I got to also tour Winter Haven High School's Cambridge program, and I came away very impressed. So big shout out to both the principal as well as the head of program there. I actually believe I was the only board member that attended the Shave It or Save It event. And Ms. Crowley, I saw her earlier here, she did ask me next year if I would be willing to do the Shave It or Save It with my mustache. So I did ask my wife, because any man knows you got to run all major decisions past your significant other. So she did give me permission. So if we're doing it again next year,
you heard it here first.
Yes, if it's a continued next year, I will do Shave It or Save It. So I'm excited if we do that.
For Save It or Shave It?
To be determined. Along with board member Nolte and Dr. Allen, we did get to go to the school finance forum, and I just want to make sure the public understands the way our schools are funded is pretty complex. The FEFP system, the formula, that's the way we're funded. I mentioned I met with a board member there from Duval County, and they're in the process of trying to make something more digestible to the public for them to understand how schools are funded. And so I mentioned that to Superintendent Hyde, and maybe depending on what they're doing, we might be able to implement something like that here in Polk County, just so you guys can understand how schools are funded. Also was able to meet with Youth Leadership Winter Haven, and I'm probably stealing your
all right,
point there.
Go ahead.
Great students. They were from all over Winter Haven. Asked very good questions. Fellow board members, if we ever really want to know what's happening in schools, let's go ask our students. They're going to tell you, and they're going to give you some honest feedback. I can tell you that for sure. 3 more events that I want to cover. All County Guitar Concert that happened at Lake Region High School. We have some amazing guitarists in our county. Was really impressed. And so make sure you go out and support our arts. with that as well, last Saturday, me and my wife had a date night, and we went to Harrison School of the Arts. So as a board member, sometimes date nights can look a little different. And so we went and we actually got to watch them perform Alice. It was a great play in their black box theater. So if public that's listening, if you ever get an opportunity, Harrison School of the Arts does an amazing job. And I also want to look at some of our other schools too and go to some of those plays. But I've only personally went to Harrison. Amazing job there. The last event that I went to, Lincoln Avenue Academy had their 30th year celebration. I didn't really know much about Lincoln Avenue Academy before going, and I was really impressed. The way the school, the culture at the school, I mean, this was really neat. One of the parents that spoke at the event was a kindergartner when it opened, and he has 3 sons there, and that really came away. It just spoke to me, and it said, hey, this person valued the education they received from Lincoln Avenue Academy, and they are wanting their children to have that same kind of education. And so it really spoke well to me. And last thing I want to mention, throughout the campaign trail and throughout my time as an elected official, you hear people make comments. And one thing I want to be clear about: our teachers, our school staff care about students. I come from a family of educators. My wife was very close to Deputy Blaine Lane, who was tragically killed in the line of duty. Last night, one of my students was in a bad car accident from Warner University. I'm waiting to hear back her status. But my wife and I we're not unique in this. Our school staff, our teachers, alongside parents, we feel the grief when things happen, like the tragedy that's happened in recently with some of our students passing away. And so I just want to thank all of our teachers, all of our school staff that truly care about our students. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Sharpless. Ms. Miller?
I won't repeat some of the great events that we had going on over the last few weeks. I did want to mention that I was lucky enough to host Congressman Scott Franklin at Bartow High School to surprise one of the gyms that we have there, Mr. Giles, who runs our construction. It's called the ACE Academy. It's the Academy of Architecture, Construction, and Engineering. And I got to meet the team of students that he took to Las Vegas. And I can tell you it was heavily girls on the team. I was super excited about the girl power in construction. But they were given a challenge to construct and build a home, the plans for a home in Las Vegas using the laws there, using the market value, and our students won first place in high schools in the country. And Jimmy Giles had a lot to do with that. He's an amazing teacher, and so the congressman was super excited to surprise him. And then we took him over to Summerlin, which is our military high school, and he got to talk to students, one who's waiting back to hear from West Point, and some of these students who really want to work their way into the academies and go into different services. I want to say that those kids there, first we did do fun stuff like take him into the airsoft rifle range and let him, try to do that. He's a lefty, so that was fun. The kids were laughing as he tried to maneuver their rifles. But it was a great learning experience for our students. We have all kinds of learning experiences in Polk. So if you haven't made it around the district, you really should. There's lots of opportunities, as mentioned. Our new board member is working overtime. I told him to attend everything, and we appreciate that. I want to mention that Auburndale will have a parade this Thursday for the Auburndale cheerleading team. They were state champions, and so they'll be marching from the high school down to City Hall, which if you're from Auburndale, they take a lot of pride in that. So if you're in the area and love to join them or cheer on the cheerleaders, Wednesday, March 1st at 3 p.m. in downtown Auburndale, you can join the parade. And the superintendent did mention my school, which is okay. I want to say that out of the 12 wrestlers going to state, there's a girl, and she is favored in her division, so I expect that she'll come home a state champ. So I'm super excited that we have a good group going. And out of those, all of those kids, it's amazing to see what our students do, whether it's in the arts or in athletics. And so I'm proud to be a part of that in District 7 and across the entire county. I think that's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. And I will keep my comments brief because Superintendent Hyde also stole my exciting news. But just more congratulations to the Lady Blue Devils. And I am fully expecting our boys basketball team to come home with the state championship. So I'll let you know when the parade is going to be at the next meeting. And I do just want to say thank you again to both Dr. Allen and Mr. Sharpless, who came out to speak to the youth leadership Winter Haven students. They are sophomores and juniors and very passionate about their education, and they did not dodge any question as hard or left field as they may have been. And Superintendent Hyde as well got to speak to them in the afternoon. So I know you all prepared him well from what I hear with some of the tough ones they threw out. But I think they brought lots of things to our attention. For example, just being able to access different resources on their one-to-one devices because we have such tight restrictions currently because we're new to one-to-one devices, but making sure that there's a way for them to go on and report, hey, this is a resource that I'm trying to use for a paper I'm writing. I need to be able to access it so that we can vet those and make sure that they have access to the resources that they need. So thank you all again for coming out and speaking. With that, we will go into our final section of the agenda for this evening, which is non-agenda items for public comment. Again, just as before, all speakers will be given 3 minutes. The clock will give you a warning sound when you have 1 minute left and when you have 30 seconds left. As a reminder, you must have registered to speak before the meeting, and sorry, those same sections. You must have registered to speak before the meeting, and please note that although we encourage community participation, no immediate action will be taken on any items presented at this point during this public comment portion of the meeting. If follow-up board action is required, then the matter may be placed on agendas at a subsequent meeting in accordance with school board policy. So our first speaker for non-agenda items will be Jackie Bullock, and on deck will be Taylor Hamilton. And just for those of you that may not have been in the room at the beginning, if you're on deck, if you could go stand behind this red line, it would be greatly appreciated. Jackie Bullock?
Yes, I am here today as a volunteer and monetary contributor and a member of the SAC committee at Lake Region High School. I am representing the students and the athletes that I work with. I have the honor of this year of having their pregame meals for a football team, and teenagers are always hungry, by the way. And our students at Lake Region come from many different types of home life. Some simply dysfunctional, some low socioeconomic, some are considered homeless. Some of the students don't even want to go home at night. They look to the teachers who work with and coach in extracurricular activities. This year, I have watched these students, I get a little emotional because I love them so much, stressed with fear of losing their coaches and teachers. These are the teachers that they look to for guidance and stability and constance in their lives. These leaders have the passion to help and go the extra distance that it takes for these students. There are many needs of these students. I have been in several meetings this year where this administration we have has emphasized that Lake Region is broken, so broken. Lake Region is not broken. We needed a little discipline, but we have great students, great teachers, and great coaches. We have 6 positive programs our IMAG Academy, ROTC, Culinary, Ag, Medical Academy, and Athletics, 3 of which have been under attack, one severely, being athletics, by this administration. Athletics is what keeps these kids' grades up and out of trouble. And we need that, and we need it to continue as it is. Lake Region won an award for good sportsmanship from the state of Florida out of all the schools in the state of Florida. I'd rather be proud of that than a win. And these kids have shown good sportsmanship. They're good at school. And by the way, we got our digital sign out front at Lake Region from the money from that award. The successful programs and teachers are not being encouraged to continue to flourish, are instead being negatively impacted by poor decisions of this administration.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Next up is Taylor Hamilton, and on deck is E.A. Ford.
Hi, good evening. I'm Taylor Hamilton. I'm a teacher at McLaughlin Academy of Excellence. I'm also the committee chair for Art of Public Service Day, and I've brought 2 students with me today who are going to tell you more about that event.
Hello, my name is Sean Rafael Fernandez.
And I'm Ashley Castillo. We are both in the 9th grade at McLaughlin.
At McLaughlin Academy of Excellence, we encourage our students to learn more about public service as well as understanding the impact of volunteerism has on our community. So we took the format of the Great American Teach-In, which is hosted nationwide in the fall to give students the opportunity to learn about different careers, and created an event in the spring semester called Art of Public Service Day. Art of Public Service Day creates a forum for community members to share with students the vast possibilities for them to serve in their community.
Last year, we had over 30 community members come to McLaughlin to talk about their civics involvements, academics, or community engagements. From this experience, my fellow students and I learned about community programs like Take Stocks and Children, a nonprofit organization that helps low-income youth escape the cycle of poverty through education.
In the future, we hope to see Art of Public Service Day as a statewide initiative used to promote the importance of civil engagement and community involvement. With the guidance of our principal, Dr. Hudson, and the leadership of Ms. Hamilton, the Art of Public Service Day Committee has created a marketing package for the event to share with the district in hopes that our students in our district can share in the art of public service.
On Friday, March 10th from 7:15 a.m. through 11 a.m., McLaughlin Academy of Excellence will be hosting the 2nd annual Art of Public Service Day. This year, we are honored to have Superintendent Hyde come to thank our guests for contributing to this event, and we would like to invite all of you guys to come to our school and be a part of this momentous occasion.
For those of you who haven't been to McLaughlin events before, know that we always make sure to feed you well. We always have breakfast and lunch sponsored for all Art of Public Service Day participants.
So we currently have about 30 people signed up, and we need 35 to make it work. So if there's anybody here, anybody watching at home, that's available on Friday, March 10th, again, 7:15 to 11 a.m., and would love to come speak to our students about how they can serve their community, please contact me. You can call the school, call McLaughlin, and ask for me, Taylor Hamilton, or you can email me as well.
As Sean is coming around to give our school board members a token of our appreciation, we have one last thing before we go. Although she is not present currently, we know Dr. Hudson will want you to know what she tells us every single day. I love you, and there's absolutely
positively nothing you can do about it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, E.A. Ford is next, and then on deck is Octavio Hernandez.
How you doing? My name is Eric. I don't represent any group, just represent a concerned parent. Last night posted on your Facebook site, I think I seen something about you guys are going to recruit teachers in Puerto Rico on March 24th, 25th, I think, over that weekend. So I'm kind of concerned about recruiting teachers from Puerto Rico. It seems like, well, first of all, I think we should be focusing on the citizens we have here, right, in the States. We have kids coming out of colleges that we could be recruiting heavily on. We have maybe some retired teachers who are doing extra work that may want to come out and work. But, and the reason why I'm really concerned is because over the pandemic, my child had a teacher that was from out of the country, who was a citizen, no doubt. But when it came to teaching my child the basic fundamentals of sentence structure, proper English, this teacher couldn't perform those tasks. I don't know how many, parents deal with their students and going over their work, but that was a big concern with me. My child go to one of the better schools, I guess, in Winter Haven, or one of the better schools, but being in 5th grade this year, me personally, I see a little regression. The last couple of years, he hasn't finished with the teachers he started with in the beginning of the year. Either they quit, leave, or whatever. I know we say we're all about supporting the teachers, but what can we do to make that better? I mean, I saw on the site, you say starting teachers start at 47.5. To recruit maybe some college students, some other educators from other states at 47.5 starting point may not be good enough. The average home in Polk County right now, what is about 275? But in the end, my concern is really going out and not focusing on the people here from the colleges, the local universities here that we have in Florida and the other states, and try and pull in recruitment from those. Are we doing a big push on those? Like you're doing a big push in Puerto Rico, a big party vacation time. Are we doing a big push in other states to get some educators down here? Are we doing a big push at the colleges when they have job fairs? Just something to think about. I know this is not a question and answer session, but I'll be sending out some emails and try and get some responses. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Octavio Hernandez, and on deck is Elias Aponte Nueva.
Good evening, school board. My name is Octavio Hernandez. I am a teacher at Davenport High School. I'm also a father there at Davenport High School. And the reason I came out here tonight is to speak about the traffic safety issue. Ms. Cunningham, I do understand that the students have some sort of responsibility for their safety. However, if we can't trust them with the books, but we can trust them with their lives, that's a very dangerous intersection. Since we came here, we started this organization so I can show my students how to take action properly. Not go out there, not do a protest, actually get through the red tape and get things done. And, I showed you, Ms. Miller, I showed you how dark it was, and you guys were able to do something. But it's not enough. It really isn't enough. I would gladly invite you to come in the morning one day and deal with that traffic. Right now, we have a volunteer that's helping students cross. But it's a very, very dangerous intersection, and I hope that you're able to fix it. I understand there's a lot of red tape. I went to Polk County Board for sidewalks and streetlights, and they told me the same thing. They said, we're waiting on you, and they said they were waiting on them. I do understand, but we're talking about the safety of students and teachers. This is not the first student that was hit. There were 2 students that were hit this year, and there was 1 last year. And I do understand that we don't want any bad publicity, and we also understand that, like I said, some of the safety does rely on us as people, as individuals. But we're talking about kids waking up at 6 in the morning, walking to school with cars literally driving 40 miles an hour because we just fixed that light. That light just got fixed. That is the speed limit for 20, because school zone, that wasn't on for an entire year. So when you say for these students to be careful, if another driver from another county doesn't know that's a school zone, they're not going to slow down. So I'm here to ask you to please try to do, I know, Mr. Superintendent, you sent that email and you told us you're getting things done, but I urge you guys to come and see it, and I'm sure this is not the only school. We have grown so rapidly and so fast in this area. The public transportation has been a huge issue. Everywhere you go in Polk County now, there's traffic. And I do understand that it is part of our responsibility as, living here in the community, but I urge you to do more and do it quickly, because it's really not enough what we have out there. It's very, very dark. It's very, very dangerous. So I please urge you, do more. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. And we have Elias Aponte with Nueva. And then on deck is going to be Cassie Gibson. Whenever you're ready.
Good evening. Good evening, school board members. We are here today to present to you the first annual Teacher Prom, which is a fundraiser organized by Nuestras Voces Americanas and GSA to support teachers with cancer.
Our teachers are the backbone of our community. Not only are they educators, but they also give guidance to those who need it. This event is an opportunity for teachers who need it for us to show gratitude to teachers who have been working tirelessly to support our community. So we invite you to come join us and celebrate this joyous occasion of thankfulness.
Thank you. All right, Cassie Gibson. I do not see her. Next is going to be Bernard Wells. Is this something separate from the reorganization chart? It is. Okay. Bernard Wells, and then on deck is Terry Coney.
Greetings to each of you again. My name is Bernard Wells. And I've been before you on several occasions to speak to this board concerning students not receiving their ESE services. My question is, where's that board member that champions themselves as the voice of students with disabilities? In December, yes ma'am, thank you. In December, I spoke to you about the mass number of knowledgeable ESE staff who have been run out, intimidated out, harassed out, bullied out, and just plain put out of the district. Most of these positions have not been replaced and has caused the services that the ESE students are supposed to have not being received. Excuse me. We can look at speech and language as an example. Schools without SLP therapists or pathologists. To name a few, we have Doris Sanders, Jean O'Dell, Karen Siegel, which are center schools that serve our most vulnerable and high-need student population. Then there's Bethune, Inwood, Lake Apple, Laura, Sand Hill Elementary, and McLaughlin Middle. Effective today, there's only one position advertised. Why? The school board is receiving funds from not one, but two sources to ensure that students are receiving these services, IDEA, FEFP. To the board and Mr. Hyde, where's that money? How is the money being utilized for those services? The money has already been received by the district, but the services are not being provided. Is this an intentional act to get funds from the federal and state government to be utilized for purposes other than students with disability, such as perhaps paying for top-level staff that the superintendent has brought in? We're all aware of the numbers game that is being played here. My question rhetorically would be, is misappropriation the same as embezzlement? I mean, I don't know, I'm just asking. Mr. Hyde, as you would say, the students are waiting. When the service is not being provided to the schools of our speech and language baby, the parents are given a blank check for compensatory services, namely to outside providers who are not aware that this plan even exists, and seemingly no one is aware of a plan that exists. Again, in December, I asked you about a comprehensive compensatory plan, and to date, there still is not one. And if it is, who knows about it? Not school, not parents. Mr. Hyde, again, the students are waiting. Inquiring minds would also like to know what's going on with pre-K. Where's the chief academic officer with the responsibility for our pre-K babies not being or being staffed at an appropriate time? And what about the staffing being put on hold?
Thank you, Mr. Wells. Next will be Terry Coney, and on deck is Roxanne Watkins.
Good evening, everyone. Madam Chair, Superintendent, board members. First, I'd like to acknowledge the Lake Gibson High School girls basketball team who also made it to the Final Four. They went on the road to win the district championship and went on the road to win a regional championship. And of all the volunteering I do, that's probably the most rewarding one I do, working as their bookkeeper and statistician. So shout out to Lake Gibson girls, go Braves. Next, I really like to continue to acknowledge the students in the Polk County school system. I had the opportunity last Friday to go to Boone Middle School. I was invited by Ms. Perros in the home economic class. They were doing the exercise and job interviews, and I was asked to be one of the interviewers. And I was totally impressed by the kids, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and they had to do a resume, and they had a list of future jobs. And one young man, he wanted to be a atmospherical scientist as an 8th grader. I said, how did you come up with that? He said, I've always wondered what goes on up there. And I said, well, that's pretty impressive. And I asked him, had he heard of the Aerospace Academy at Kathleen? And he hadn't. So I recommend that his parents take a look at that. But I really got a chance to meet some very impressive kids. So to move on, with this being the final day of Black History Month, African American History Month, just want to bring up a few items this year. April will be the 60th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail. August 28th will be the 60th anniversary of his Poor People's March speech, better known as I Have a Dream speech. And April will also be the 125th anniversary of the 10th Cavalry Buffalo Soldiers coming to Lakeland, staging area, going to the Spanish-American, for the Spanish-American War. There are also other units there out of Massachusetts, Ohio, and Kansas. Very few people knew about that. I just found out about it when I came back to Lakeland in 2014, and so there was a monument put up on the Veterans Day, and kids from Ridge Community College actually got a chance to put something on that monument. So please go out and take a look at that. And one final thing, if I can get it out real quick. A lie doesn't become truth, wrong doesn't become right, and evil doesn't become just, because even if it's accepted by the majority. Booker T. Washington, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cooney. And we have Roxanne Watkins. Roxanne Watkins. All right, and then Pam Luce.
Well, good evening. I had the opportunity last Tuesday to attend the County Commission meeting in Bartow, and one of the items on the agenda was concurrency, in particular school concurrency. I was very surprised to see that there was a staff member from Polk County Public Schools presenting information about school concurrency to the Board of County Commissioners. The superintendent also took part in the discussion. It caught me off guard because at least two of you have asked for a presentation to be made to the board. I remember the superintendent responding to the last request with a comment, something to the effect of not having anyone on staff that could make such a presentation. He also said that he was looking for someone from another district who was an expert who could come and make that presentation to you. Yet, here we were before the county commissioners with such a presentation by the school district before it was given to you. I would think that you would be curious as to why you were not the first to receive that information. Sorry, lost my place. In the comments at the end of the workshop, the commissioners and staff agreed that the required site selection committee meetings had not been held for several years since school sites had been purchased by the school district over those years. The director of land development stated that he would ensure that a site selection committee would be held for the Poinciana High School site. We've also been told that it is not certain whether it is feasible to provide water and sewer to the location of the two identified potential sites, and that came from the county. I just have to wonder where we would be if the site selection committee were convened as required when the search for this site began a couple of years ago. All these matters would have been worked out between the agencies, and the school could very likely be under construction. What has been accomplished by avoiding cooperation with our community agencies? You've heard that the school district is in compliance with the interlocal agreement. The county commission agrees that it has not been complied with in the area where they are concerned. This is only part of what needs to be brought back into compliance. I've provided you with some information on another area in the agreement. I only have 3 minutes, so I won't have time to go over it with you now. But this is in the area of how capacity determination should be provided to the municipalities and the developers. I've also provided examples of how it is being provided. It's no wonder that the Northeast schools are bursting at the seams. The school district is telling developers and the municipalities that there is capacity in the schools even when there is not.
I just want to quickly, before we adjourn, have Superintendent Hyde respond to a couple things, because he did present with our facilities team, and there were a couple misrepresentations that I want to make sure that the board understands what happened at that presentation.
That is
Superintendent
correct.
Hyde.
Madam Chair, members of the board, the presentation that was provided to that entity in Bartow was the presentation that you've received previously. This board, including our chair, has directed me to do a more finite presentation, and as we shared, there used to be an individual at the Department of Education who could be tapped for such trainings and such information, but that position no longer exists. And the recommendation of the Florida Department of Education was to reach out to other knowledgeable and experienced individuals in surrounding districts that have dealt with significant growth and have them come and provide you with that presentation. We continue to strive to develop that. However, no information was presented at the Bartow meeting this school board has not received previously. In addition, I do not have any recollection of any single or group of city councilmen or commissioners making a statement that we failed in any regard to hold a site selection committee. In fact, Mr. Bodie's exact words were, "We will make sure we do it in the future," but there were examples where this was not required by law, and we clearly delineated those. Donated property does not require a site selection committee. Previously adopted properties, as agreed to and supported by Mr. Bodie and others, when we have a land bank of sites that we can use to address concurrency and growth, those were previously, they've already had their site selection committee done when we procured those properties. And that's what was discussed. And so quite frankly, there is no issue here at concurrency. Yes, we are getting to a point where we need to address continued growth. And we are working to resolve that as quickly as we can. And we have a plan in place for a new high school. That high school, if we went with the donated property, is not required to have a site selection committee done. However, we're in agreement with Mr. Bodie and the county that moving forward, we'll be happy to have that for any new land that we procure or is donated to the school district. But I don't want it misrepresented here. That group did not at any point say that site selection was failure or that we failed to adhere to that. That is not what was said. In fact, the chair and other representatives on that board asked Mr. Bodie no fewer than 4 times, did he believe at any time we have violated the interlocal agreement? Every single time he responded with no. There is no advantage to the school district to lie about concurrency and put ourselves at a disadvantage where we have overcrowding in our schools. So I appreciate the opportunity to respond, Madam Chair, and again, and to clarify those 2 issues because they're factually inaccurate.
Thank you, Superintendent Hyde. Seeing no further business to come before the board, this meeting is adjourned.